This is F case. I think it's already coming out too in E case, but I'm not sure. I'm placing a bounty on this thing. Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to Monkey Shine Lab. I have finally finished bagging and boarding everything which was sent to me in the mega box. A mega box of comic books from Andre at First 117. Andre has been a really good friend to me, and I have tried to turn around and be a good friend to him as well. So to start off, I'm going to mention that he does have a resale channel now where he describes his process and he shows you where he goes and how he does his finds in order to support his whole family. It's a pretty remarkable system that he has going, as well as, you know, a really deep knowledge of useless shit. So it's an interesting new perspective on what he's been doing. It's a little less in the way of Hot Wheels and a little bit more in the way of this is how I live now. It's kind of a cool channel as well. Also, you can see what he's got going on, what he'll have in his resale shop. It's kind of interesting all the way around. The other thing is, while I'm doing problems, faults, and corrections, okay, a couple of days ago, I was talking about some Diecast which I received from an auction that a friend of mine does, and it was purchased for me by another friend. But this is all kind of convoluted into the same thing. First of all, the auction was held by Nazar at Nostalgic. It is Hot Wheels for Ukraine. If you're interested in finding out more about that program, then just, you know, it's hashtagged and everything. That's Hot Wheels for Ukraine. It is a completely not-for-profit, just getting toys to kids in a war-torn country, and also helping to fund humanitarian needs such as food, medicine, clothing, all of that other good stuff. He held toy drives prior to the holidays, and he's been doing these auctions for a long time. Not a long time, the whole time of the war, which has been too long, of a couple of years now. Friends and family still live over there, and so he is a good news source. You will learn things from Nazar's posts from time to time that you won't learn from our American media. So if you're at all interested in all of that, I highly suggest that you go check it out. The Diecast in question is, I keep all of my stuff of importance on my desk here. This is a beautiful custom Jeep with the Golf livery on it. Long-time watchers of my channel know that I have a kinky thing for golf. In terms of the racing livery, it's the thing that triggers me as a little kid watching ABC Sports Spectacular and stuff like that. You would see the Golf made up, the GT, you know, the Ford GT done up with the Golf livery, and that to me is just the pinnacle of racing right there, honestly. So this I attributed, unfortunately, to another very generous person, Chris Sheets, but in fact, this comes to me from another very long time viewer and sort of extended family member and all that good stuff. Very big supporter of the channel, Matthew Hennigan. So, Matthew, thank you very much. This piece of Diecast came to me from Naz's auction. It was purchased for me by Matt and sent out by Nazar as part of the auction for Ukraine. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that was all straightened out, because acts of generosity should always be attributed correctly. And in terms of, when you hear an online auction or you hear collectibles auction, sometimes you think, Nas was not doing that on Whatnot. He was doing it on his own channel live with the help of Chris Sheets and Maggie, his partner in crime for I don't know how many years. 8 years? It's been 8 years? Something like that? Bizarre? I don't know. It's nobody's business. But I did want to say thank you very much to Nazar for all of his hard work and gathering up some amazing customs. Also on Nostalgic and Shelby Street Diecast, folks, he has been showing off high-end Kaido House 164s and stuff like that he's been winning through a couple of different auctions and purchases. Some amazing detail in these cars. If you're out there and you like the 164 scale of Mattel's products or, Matchbox, whatever, if you like those things, then you really should check out his shows on this higher end stuff. It might give you an idea of where collecting really should be, I think. Right now, and I was watching an unboxing this morning about the F case, I believe it is. There's a Golf Shelby Golf Cobra in that. But the other thing that I saw was that, the front ends and back ends of cars are the first thing to get cut off when they have tampo runs on their cars. For those of you who don't know, and I never knew this, they are capable of doing 4 runs over a car to put graphics on it or other tampos, okay? So if they have a very involved side piece or top deco that's going on to it, sometimes they will just not do headlights. They will not do taillights. And that to me is a crying shame, especially some of the models that they've put out are really nice. I mean, they are really cool, but I'm sorry. I'm not gonna pay for an unfinished vehicle. And so to that end, I look more to M2 myself, or, I will certainly look at premium cars and stuff like that. I'll always look at premiums. Speaking of which, if you want to see some really cool premiums, Andre just got some, at First 117, just got some really amazing stuff off of another auction, but that's a complete, that's another story. Anyway, you owe it to yourself to check these models out. He's got great macro photography going on with them, and color correction, so that he gives you an absolutely brilliant look at these high-end pieces of diecast. Some of you will continue to do Hot Wheels. Others of you may choose to up your game a little bit. Either way, as Nas says, there's no judgment coming here. I'm just telling you where I'm coming from in terms of being a longtime Hot Wheels fan and collector, and what I have bought in the past versus what I will pay for in the future. I watched those guys' channels, both the First 117 and Nostalgic. I watched those channels religiously. I still, to this day, I do. But early on, Nas was going to premiums. He was looking at only premium sets, really, in terms of purchase. He would look at main lines. He still does. But in terms of purchase, it was only premiums. And at the time, they were maybe almost $5. And so I was like, man, that's crazy for a die-cast car. I'm not going to pay that. And then they came out with a GTO or a CUDA or something like that I really liked on the Boulevard sets. And it kind of cracked me into the whole M2 scene and the premiums, and you know, I it's not that I never go back, because I do. I look for Golf liveries in the main lines. I look for Batmobiles in the main lines that I don't have. Those two things, and the occasional Matchbox, are you know, really what I want to be putting in my collection, in my house, of those of that strata of vehicle. I think when I want to look at a car, you know, my M2 collection, which I should put up on screen, but my M2 collection is where it's at, you know. By the way, too, if you're out there buying those cars like M2 and Jada and stuff like that, do a thorough look over of the car before you purchase it, okay? Compare it to another one if there are two or more. Take a look at where the tampos are, that the door is hinged on. Been noticing quality control problems at M2 for a little while now. Not too many, but enough that you see it enough, you know. And been noticing some paint problems and other technical flaws with Jada's larger scale cars. The pink slip stuff still pretty good, but you know, watch yourself when you're buying 1/24th scale or 132 even. Take a good look at the car. If it's you know, if it's a Jada, if it's a big time muscle or a pink slip or any of their sub brands under the Jada or the pink slip imprint, do a thorough look over, because you know, we're seeing a lot of quality control issues, at least here in America. I don't know how things are looking around the globe. Rusty, if you're out there and watching this, we need your Australian input, son. Come back. Okay, enough of that. Okay, but I wanted to talk about those couple of things, and now I'm going to show some artwork, if you don't mind. Because like I said, I got all of the books bagged and boarded. Now if I get them put up in front of the camera, my work with this will be done, and I can finally file these in line with all of the rest of the collections where they belong. Currently, they're just like in collected mega stacks around. Megabyte. All right. I'm going to start off with some Power Man and some Iron Fist. Don't go anywhere. It's only a couple of issues, but they are kind of interesting to see across the time. This is a more current version of the two of them. It's probably sometime in the 2000s, because you can always tell with this Marvel.com and etc. As well as the cover price and the way things are, you know, set forth. Moving on to a much older version of the comic, and this comic book has never been, you know, Power Man and Iron Fist has never been really easy for me to understand. They are just basically heroes for hire, so whoever's got the money gets the muscle. Iron Fist has got a deeper story, and they're actually going to revive two different Iron Fist characters for the TV shows and movies, I guess. I gotta tell you, man, or ladies, or folks, whatever you like to be called, I have to tell you that I am just completely overwhelmed with trying to follow any of the TV shows or movies or anything else on time. Just so much of it. Luke Cage is a cool hero. Luke Cage is a guy who, in order to try to get out of prison and clear his name, he allowed medical experimentation on himself, which ended up getting goofed up, of course. and he has bulletproof skin, and he has a pretty damn powerful bit of super strength. But when he gets hit by the bullets, it hurts. It's not like Superman where the bullets bounce off of him and there's no problem. He's much more of a neighborhood character, a little bit more like Spider-Man, where he fights the street level stuff. And I thought that the 2 seasons that they were doing on the Netflix show before they canceled it was really good. They're bringing all of that back. They've declared all of that stuff as canon, starting with the Daredevil stuff a couple of weeks ago. But they're finally coming around to announcing the fact that they're bringing back Danny Ketch. They're bringing back all of these different characters. That's Iron Fist. They're bringing back all of these different people that were on the Netflix shows, as well as all the people that were behind the productions as well. So they're bringing back a lot of technical people and writers and all that other good stuff. So those shows should continue well on Disney Plus. Look for them if you're waiting for it. I finally found in this entire collection, I finally found the Galactic Storm Episode 1, which is in this Captain America. They really spread this Project Galactic Storm thing out over a lot of different titles. They were really trying to get you to buy a lot of different stuff at this time. These are a little out of order, but a little older Captain America book. I appreciate seeing stuff like the old way of drawing Wolverine and Falcon's early costume. It's always been a favorite of mine, the red and white Falcon costume. I know that they had to update the character for all the MCU stuff and make him look cooler, but I miss the wings. I miss the actual wings and stuff like that. And then back to the earliest of Captain America books that was in that collection that shows Nick Fury as the white guy he used to be before Sam Jackson did so amazingly wonderful with the character. And I don't think that Sam Jackson was the reason why they made Nick Fury ultimately a black character. But anyway, this book, the interesting thing about this book is that up here in the corner, there is actually a very deep rip, which goes down to about there on the cover, and somebody used the shiny kind of old-ass Scotch tape on there, and so I have trimmed it off the edge of the back of the spine of the book. I have cleaned it up as much as possible. I have put it in plastic. This one is, say it with me now, valueless. That tape job is the biggest problem. If it were just ripped, it would still have a little bit of value, but the tape is a no-no. So if you come across comic books, it is a no-no to staple them. It is a no-no to tape them unless you're keeping them and you want to pass them on to somebody to read. Okay? That's the worth they're going to have. Otherwise, paper your outhouse with them. Serious. Some people might not agree with me on that, but if you're looking to collect, you want to collect pristine copies, unless you're like me and you're just looking to fill spots and have something kind of cool to talk about. The other thing that they announced just a day or two ago is that they have gone from making Armor Wars, which is Iron Man and every other armored character in the Marvel Universe. They were going to do it as a television show on Disney Plus, but they learned recently with making the She-Hulk show that even at $238 million, the special effects came out sort of subpar, and they had to cut a couple of corners even just to get it done. That's why they're canceling the show. They're not able to make it on the level that they want to make it with the money that they have to make it. So in terms of the Iron Wars, the Machine Wars, Armor Wars, excuse me. The Armor Wars set is going to be an actual film. But it involves Rhodey and Iron Man and lots and lots and lots of suits. They announced today that they're having Sam Rockwell come back again as his character, the guy who basically knocks off all of the Iron Man suits and designs from Iron Man 2. Sam Rockwell's a fantastic American actor. If you haven't seen him before, he's killer. He's awesome. He makes stuff like Charlie's Angels watchable. Okay. I mean the movie with, what's her name? Cameron Diaz and Drew Partymore and Lucy Liu. Anyway, there's some interesting books here. Tony Stark, unless you don't know, Tony Stark is a raging alcoholic. So I guess he has another issue with the bottle. This is not one of the original series. But this is Armor Wars 2. I've got a bunch of Iron Man and a bunch of War Machine now, which is nice because some of my boys have been asking about War Machine in the last couple of years. And so I'm always glad to up my content of Iron Man books. I have quite a few from the 70s and 80s that I bought when I was younger, obviously. No, they just came out yesterday and then I bought them. Where am I? But the really killer part of these books is that a bunch of them deal with the Mandarin, which is another Marvel hero that made no sense. The Mandarin was the original holder of the 10 rings. This is before they rewrote everything with Shang-Chi to include the 10 rings and a part of his comeuppance film. But it's okay. They did some funny stuff with the Mandarin in those movies, and I do overall. I so appreciate the way they represented that actor. He's hilarious. But lots and lots of Armor Wars 2 issues, and some more Operation Galactic Storm. As you see, like they went over this, they went over Captain America. I have found those Galactic Storm and niche titles all through here. Quasar. Can you imagine trying to hunt down a Quasar comic book back then? Yeah, I know that was a really nerdy thing to say. Probably can't imagine that any more than you can imagine what my sex life wasn't. Okay. Continuing on with the Iron Man, and I know this seems like a mercilessly large stack of comic books to be showing, and in ways, it is. Okay, it is. I'm not going to say no, but there are some people out there for whom this content is actually rather pleasurable. So, back to Hands of the Mandarin. This went back and forth across Iron Man and War Machine as well, and this is the last one. The last one, people. Aren't you happy? I'm done. I'm finished with Iron Man. And Iron Fist and Power Man. Oh, wow. It's a tremendous amount of comic books that Andre has sent me to sort of add to my collection and sort through and make sense of. Greatly appreciated, Andre. Thank you very much. Again and again and again. And I'm getting ready for another shipment. He was threatening me the other day. He's like, I've almost got a box ready for you to, But we still have some cool books here yet to talk about. With Spider-Man, we've got a few West Coast Avengers. Going to talk about some West Coast Avengers coming up here in some of the next comic book oriented episodes. What I'm trying to do, by the way, is I am trying to, when I put up something that is like this, where I'm showing comic book art, I try to put up something that has some other information or some other focus on it, because I do know that the comic book episodes are not to everyone's taste. But there are quite a few of you out there, and I appreciate all of the views. I appreciate the interest in this, whether it's passive or whether you are a comic book collector yourself. Thank you very much for coming out here to Monkey Shine Lab and seeing this little bit of content. As I just said, most of our stuff varies from all different types of nerdish. So if you are not into comic books and you're more into movies, we have playlists on our page. We have playlists for film reviews. We have a series that is sort of more of a challenge to the viewer called What Is Wrong With You Reviews. Those are all movies that are absolutely some of the roughest films I can find that still have some sort of merit to them. Or, well, you make up your own mind on that. But there's a series of films, and so you can get the lowdown on those and see if you want to take the challenge. We also have Halloween movie idea playlists. We have flea market playlists. We have all sorts of stuff on our channel page. So please go over and check that out. And remember to subscribe directly here on YouTube. There's a little button down there. It's like a red thing or something sort of. I don't know. It says subscribe. Hit that button, okay? Will you, please? All right. Very good. Thank you very much for coming out here to the Monkey Shine Lab, everybody, and we will see you again on the next episode. Whether that's the one I'm going to produce this afternoon that has nothing to do with comic books, or the one coming from tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Frankly, I'm scared. Anyway, folks, see you later.